Okay, welcome everyone. So far, we've got 28, 27 people in attendance. Great to see everyone. My name is Oliver Pierce. I'm the Director of Commercialization at Museum. For those of you that have been part of TMF Week before or any other online webinar that we put on, you should know me by now. But if not, it's a pleasure to meet you all. We have a product showcase session today, a little short session before we break for a little bit and we finish the day with a panel discussion. I'm going to give everybody a chance to jump in on the last session because I know that one was running right up to the wire. For those of you that are coming from that AI presentation that Mike and Paul presented, I think you guys will agree was a phenomenal presentation. I myself loved it and learned a lot. As usual, please jump in and let us know where you're watching us from today. We have a product showcase today, so this is a little bit different from your regular kind of slide deck presentation, although there are some slides. We're going to be showing you how to improve efficiency and timeliness of TMF filing, which has been a very big topic of today's presentation. We're going to be talking about improving efficiency and timeliness of TMF filing within eTMF Connect, which of course is Montreal's eTMF platform. So with that, I'm just going to introduce today's speakers and then I'll hand it over to them to get going. We're joined first and foremost by Lindsay Kerwan. Lindsay is eTMF Services Coordinator at Montreal. Is not only an expert on our product, but also working in our eTMF services team, helping organizations and customers mature their TMF process. So welcome, Lindsay. And then we're also joined by Chris Enamore. Chris is part of our business development team as an account executive and works very, very closely with our customers to help implement these systems within their organization. So with that, I will fade off into the background, thankfully, and I'll pass it over to you, Chris, to kick us off.
Thanks so much, Oliver. And actually a really good segue into sort of the first slide that I want to present today in talking about some of the frustrations that we hear from, and I hear personally, and our business development team hears from our prospects every day. You know, we speak to people that are moving from paper process or hybrid process, or, you know, from a more rudimentary system that is often being used as a, you know, final or end state repository. So I just want to preface this by saying this is obviously not an exhaustive list. So I'd love if everyone wanted to kind of chime in the chat and let us know what some of your biggest frustrations are in filing your TMF today. But, you know, we're constantly discussing, obviously, that collaboration between sponsor and CRO and how that can be very challenging. You know, the fact that not all stakeholders follow the same structure or the same, and same index. Obviously, documents are coming from many different sources, which adds to that challenge. And then at the end, the documents are being stored in various systems in different places. So, you know, all things that we're talking about on a constant basis and really trying to move, you know, towards that source of truth. Obviously, when we're dealing with manual processes, when we're, you know, looking at paper processes, you know, there's can be bottlenecks when people are out of the office, on vacation, you know, approvals start to stack up on someone's desk, further sort of complicating everything. Obviously, that process is very manual, very arduous, which increases, you know, risk and the potential for lost documents, misplaced documents, which again, you know, adds to the all-important metrics and the difficulty in tracking those, difficulty in maintaining oversight, and ultimately remaining inspection ready. But first and foremost, and most importantly, for anybody out there managing on paper or managing hybrid, I feel you. I speak to these people every day. It's a pain to manage. It's frustrating. So hopefully during today's product showcase, we can show you how we can alleviate some of that stress in eTMF Connect.
Yeah, it is really a pain to manage, Chris, and it all starts from the beginning, right? Anyone working in clinical research will tell you that study startup phase is really the most crucial and probably the most hectic time during a trial. So if you're already coming from a paper-based TMF or an electronic TMF, you're probably already familiar with the TMF index and how important it is to set it up well from the get-go so that you know what you're going to file, when you're going to file it, and where to file it as well. So we have a poll for you today that we're going to launch. Hopefully Chris can help with that, or Oliver.
Absolutely. And while I'm bringing up the poll, I mean, obviously we were discussing, I think, Oliver, you already published it, correct?
I did, yeah. So if everybody wants to head over to the right of the live chat, you'll see a little poll icon, and you can see there, how are you managing your TMF index today? Is it on paper? Is it an Excel spreadsheet? Are you using a tracker of some sort? Is it in an ETMF system, ideally? Or do you not have an index at all? So we'll give everybody a few minutes to jump in and answer that poll. Again, you have to navigate to that section to answer it. So if you're looking for it, it's to the right of the live chat in the poll section. You can just jump over in the tab. People answer, which is great.
Already some very interesting results.
Yeah.
It's following what we thought, Lindsay, but I think there's more of the two other categories that we didn't think were going to be maybe as highly selected. So very interesting. But Lindsay and I were also chatting about this, and more and more we're seeing sort of in an ETMF system, whether it's an in-house ETMF system or being managed at the CRO or somewhere else. Obviously, we're seeing that increasing in a lot of our webinars lately. But interesting here. I don't know, Oliver, if you want to. I see it slowing down a little bit. If you want to end the poll maybe in the next few seconds, and we can take a look at.
Well, give everybody a chance. I was hoping that one of the options would sort of beat.
I see.
Beat the other. It seems the TMF system is holding strong, and we'll finish.
So you're telling me that when they get neck and neck, you're going to end the poll, right?
Yeah, I'm just waiting for Excel spreadsheet to basically lead, because I think I have a sneaky suspicion that most people are managing in an Excel spreadsheet. But
there's nothing to be embarrassed about.
Yeah, there's something different. So I'll just I'll end the poll, or I'll leave it open. We'll see what happens as it goes along. But 12.2% on paper, or 11%. Yeah, so it's sort of around 12% on paper. Excel spreadsheet, around 40% of you managing on Excel spreadsheet, and 45% of you, or more now, even managing it in the ETMF system, which is fantastic. We're going to show you today how you can manage that index within ETMF Connect. So I'll end the poll and I'll hand it back to you guys. Take it away.
Perfect. Thanks, Oliver.
And true to his word, Oliver ended the poll right as Excel spreadsheet took over from in an ETMF system. So good timing. And great segue. and great segue sort of into what we're going to be looking at today, and I guess how we help our customers take TMF filing from a headache to a happy place. So as Oliver mentioned, we're going to take a look at TMF plans right in the system, and how we can generate those and edit those. We're going to look at auto placeholder generation that's obviously based on that plan that you would have set up. We're going to look at how those placeholders can make it easy to file directly on top, to know what's expected of you and know where you're going in your study. We'll also look at how we can receive artifacts and documents directly from sites and vendors right in the staging area, which is a really cool aspect of our systems that our customers really, really love. And lastly, we're not going to show this today. This is sort of a showcase in its own on Wednesday, but obviously was sort of important to at least talk about in this process, and how the system handles predefined workflows and approvals and signatures directly in the system. So not going to show you today. We're going to keep it for Wednesday, but obviously the system really does take care of that full life cycle of the document.
Awesome, Chris. So why don't we dig into the demonstration? So I'll bring us over to ETMF Connect right now. I'll just end the slides. And ETMF Connect actually already comes with an inbuilt index, which we're calling our ETMF plan. And this plan is something that you can build out in the system itself, and you can work together with your sponsors, with your CROs, to really define which documents you'll be collecting as part of your TMF. Now, we already understand that having tools like this really helps to speed up that study startup phase. And this is where the ETMF plan comes in, because you can actually create templates for the different maybe phases of studies, or types of studies, or even templates for different different sponsors. And then when you have those new trials, then you can just fire them up from those templates that are pre-existing. So we have some templates here for phase 3, a template that's specific to a particular product. We even have a template here for real world studies and the document index as well. So whatever your use case may be, whatever template you need for your studies, you can create that. And then when you have that new study, you can very quickly create your new study-specific eTMF plan. So we're going to take a look at these study-specific eTMF plans right now. And you can actually create these from those templates, or you can create it from scratch. It's up to you. Every trial is going to be different, of course. So even if you have that template in place, you're going to need to adjust your study-specific plan based on, studies design. There may be different document types that are expected or not. And it's basically just like a shopping list. So you can come in here at the very beginning and set it up well. So your eTMF plan, we're going to see now for this Prod A 101 study. So it's pretty much just a listing of all of the document types that we have in the system based on the TMF reference model. So you'll notice each document type here is mapped to a process zone and a section per that model. But you'll also see that each document type is mapped to a document level and also to a milestone. So what that means is that once your study reaches the milestones that are indicated, your system will automatically create the placeholders for you based on this plan. Then those placeholders, you can fill them with documents, and that will help you then keep on track with what documents need to be collected and then which ones maybe were missed from previous milestones in your trial.
Hey, Lindsay, quick question for you. Can you update TMF plans like during the trial itself?
Yeah, Chris, you can actually come back to this at any point in time during the trial. So as we know, in clinical trials, things change all the time. So you can come back to this and even add in new document types when they're needed, or remove document types that you maybe thought you needed at the beginning of the trial and maybe no longer need. And you can even increase the placeholder counts as well. So if you feel that you need more placeholders, you can go ahead and add those in as well. So basically this index, this eTMF plan is living. You can come back to it at any point in time, and it should be maintained throughout your trial. This will help you keep your study completeness accurate, and it will also help you keep on track and be inspection ready. So that's the eTMF plan. What we'd like to show you now is in our navigator, those placeholders that have been created from that plan. So I'm going to go over to the navigator right now. So this is eTMF Connect Study Navigator for the study Prod A 101. And we can see in here that based on my eTMF plan, we actually already have the counts for the expected and missing documents. Now, these are actually shown as placeholders in my navigator. So if I were to drill down now, I can even drill down to my different countries and even my different sites. I can see the documents that will have already been uploaded over here in green and yellow. And I can also see those expected and missing placeholders that have come from that eTMF plan that we saw earlier. So here we have a placeholder for missing documents. This is a missing document that's called site contact details. That's a document type. And this document, I actually have it on my computer, and I can drag and drop it on top of this placeholder.
Hey, Lindsay, I'm going to play annoying here again and interrupt you. Sorry. When I'm sort of, dragging and dropping on top of a placeholder, is the system going to help me out a little bit? Is it going to inherit some of that metadata by any chance?
Yes, actually, yes. So the metadata will be inherited from the placeholder and the document type information, the filing information. Also, if the placeholder is associated to a country or a site, that information will also be in the metadata, so it will help you speed up the data entry. So we're going to take a look at that right now. So I'm going to show you from my Explorer window how I can, how I can drag and drop those documents from my computer. So here we go. Oh, it wouldn't be a demo without a technical difficulty. There we go. This is Lindsay's fault. Here we go. So I have all of these documents here on my computer, and I have a document for my site contact details, and I can drag and drop that from my computer directly on top of the placeholder. Now, when this upload is ongoing, we'll see then in my indexing window that the metadata is already going to be inherited from the placeholder itself. So you'll see that right here. We have all of the metadata for process zone, section, document type is already entered, country and site as well as the title as it appeared on my computer. But on the right, we also have the preview of the document. So this allows me now to QC the document at the very same time as I'm entering in the metadata. So I can go ahead here and adjust the metadata fields as needed, fill them in as you like, and then you would go ahead and file that document into your study. What would happen next is that document would go through some predefined workflows, and again, we'll be talking about that on Wednesday's demo at the very same time. Now, this is not the only way that you can bring documents into the system. We've also got a dedicated staging area for each study, which I'm going to show to you now. So I'm just going over to my staging area. Now, what's really cool about this area is, and it's probably something that, probably one of the main reasons why clinical teams are actually choosing eTMF Connect, is that we can actually email documents over to this area. So you can have, sorry, was there a question?
Does that mean I don't have to give access to the sites I'm working with?
No, you don't need to. If you don't want your sites or even your vendors to have access to your TMF, you can provide them with this email address that you see here. It's study specific, of course, and then they can email over the documents that are relevant for the TMF. And then someone internal to you can go ahead and index those documents to bring them into your TMF. You can also use this area to bulk upload large batches of documents that you have on your computer, and you can simply just drag and drop them over here as well. So what I wanted to show you right now is how we can index documents to bring them into the TMF by selecting as many documents as you like from the list, and then we can then that brings us to our document indexing window. Now, it's slightly different from the indexing window that we saw earlier, because here we have multiple documents on the list, but we also have a tab here to edit our common metadata. So what's great about this is this will help me speed up all of that data entry, because I can add in all of the common metadata across all of the documents on the list. So maybe you know that all of the documents are for the same process zone, so you can enter in that information here. You might even know that they're coming from the same site, for example. So I can go ahead and enter in the country and even the site, the Shum Hospital, and I can even assign what my revision number is and who the document owner should be across all of the documents on the list. Now you'll see when we drill down to each individual document, that metadata is already entered there for me. So all I need to do now is fill out the rest of the fields. So for example, this one is a monitoring visit report. I just enter in the first 3 letters, and you see monitoring visit report appears on the drop down. When I choose it, the section field is automatically entered for me. So of course, the system is mapped to the TMF reference model, so we have that structure and the documents will be filed as such. Again, we do have a preview of the document on the right-hand side, so you can do that informal QC right here while you're filling out the rest of the fields. So you can fill out those fields as needed, but I just wanted to point one out to you here, which is the visit date field. If you wanted to capture those visit dates and maybe help, and that can help you find your documents later on, documents that are associated to those visit dates, you can pull reports on them later on in the system. We can take a quick look at the second document now that we have on the list, which is a medical license. We see this here again with the preview that we have on the right-hand side. And again, all of that metadata that we entered in earlier is already there. So all I need to do is fill out the rest of the fields, decide that this one is a medical license, choose it here from the drop-down, and the filing information is already entered for me. One other field, if I scroll down here just to mention to you, is the expiry date field. If you want to track the documents that are about to expire or have already expired, you can pull reports on that later on in the system. So you can go ahead and enter in that date as well here. Now, once you're finished entering in all of the metadata for all of the documents on the list, you can go ahead and file those documents into your study. What would happen next then is, of course, the documents will be filed in your TMF, but the documents will go through some predefined workflows based on the document type. So you would define in advance what the workflows would be, and documents would go through as such. So if you want to learn more about document workflows and document collaboration, eTMF Connect, you can come back on Wednesday at 11:45. We're going to do another demonstration for you to show you that document workflow process in eTMF Connect, and we'll be going through 2 common use cases as well.
Hey, Lindsay, a few interesting questions from the audience that I maybe wanted to address. So maybe keep the system up for a few seconds.
Yes, sure.
Rob asked an interesting one that we often get on demos about the difference between expected placeholders versus missing placeholders. Did you want to address that quickly? It's a nice and fairly simple answer.
Absolutely, yeah. So you remember earlier on from our eTMF plan, we had levels and milestones. So each document would be expected at that level and milestone based on the plan. But if you adjust your milestones for, say, your studies or for your countries or your sites, what will happen is those placeholders that were expected would then become missing, letting you know then that you missed them from a previous milestone. So I hope that helped to answer the question.
I mean, I've heard the explanation a few times, so I think it explained it well. But
Rob, if not, you can write to us and we'll discuss.
Absolutely, that's exactly what I was going to say. Another interesting one from Monica in the chat, just about document titles and if those are automatically populated or if they're manual entry.
Yeah, great question. So the document title right here is as it appeared on your computer when you were uploading it into the system, or if it was emailed over, it would be the file name of the document. But as you can see, that document title field is adjustable. So you can go ahead and enter in whatever your naming convention is for your types. But I will say as well that once the document is filed into eTMF Connect, the documents will all get a document ID that is automatically generated by the system based on the document type and some of the other metadata that you've entered as well.
And then Fran asked about required metadata fields. I guess those are the ones marked where the red asterisk is, right, Lindsay?
Yes, they are. And it will depend on the document type as well, because if you have a site level document, you will of course have a required field for site. But if it's not a site level document or otherwise, then those fields would not be mandatory.
Fran, always with the good questions, eh? Fran's always throwing good questions. Thanks, Fran.
Fran's keeping us on our toes.
As always.
Great. Thanks so much, guys, for being so interactive and asking questions and taking part in the poll. Obviously, if there's anything else, any other questions that remain unanswered, feel free to reach out to any one of us on the team, and we'll be happy to do so. Lindsay, I don't know if you want to pull back up the presentation. Oh, look at you, always on the ball. Just to look at sort of what we learned during the demo today. I'll be honest, I knew some of those questions I asked. Maybe they were planned, but I hope it was fun. And they're definitely features that, and the reason why I ask is, they're features that people really appreciate in our system. So I hope we were able to showcase some of that today. And in summary, we've looked at how the system can help improve efficiency with TMF management from study startup all the way to study closure. We looked at how to set up your eTMF plan directly in the system and how to make sure that that's living throughout your study and something that you can edit throughout the study. We looked at how we can, 2 ways actually, is how you can easily upload documents to the computer, one of which was uploading directly to placeholders that will allow you to sort of streamline the process and inherit some of that metadata automatically. And then we looked at the staging area as well, and how documents can be emailed directly to that. So hopefully this is interesting to everyone, and it showed and highlighted how we can definitely streamline some of those processes, and at the end of the day, hopefully save you some money on Advil and Tylenol and aspirin, whatever your headache drug of choice, and make your lives a little bit easier. So Thanks so much for being here and your attention. We really do appreciate it. And then last thing, I just wanted to mention, if anybody wants to see sort of, more of a, in-depth demo, a demo keeping in mind sort of your use case and how you approach TMF today and how you're looking to leverage TMF in the future, we'd be more than happy to, sort of jump on a scoping call, understand your current and, future state desire and really, customize a demo to what you want to see. So again, thank you everyone for today's session. It was a pleasure, and we'll see you a few more times this week.
And if you're interested in looking at your use case more specifically, just write "I'm interested" in the chat. No strings, meeting, conversation. We're happy to show you what we have and how the system works. So if you want to throw that into the chat, we'll take a look at it. We'll reach out independently and we'll go forward. And it looks like everyone is. Fran's giving you some props there, Lindsay.
Thanks, Fran.
Awesome. Okay. Well, we'll leave the session open just for a second. Allow everybody, if you are interested in having your use case shown, how the system would work within your specific use case, within your specific environment, right? I'm interested in the chat. Myself, Chris, Lindsay would be happy to kind of walk you through that.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, we'll close the session for today. Thank you so much, everyone, for attending. This is the first time I've done a product showcase with over 100 people on it, and I think that's a huge recognition for Lindsay and Chris. So well done, guys, on a great session.
Thanks, Oliver.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Take care.
Thanks for your time. Bye-bye.